now I would like to introduce the side chat on connectivity through digital literacy as a safety net. Her Excellency, Madam Sussane, Danish ambassador to Serbia, is going to lead the chat with Ms. Boutheina Guermazi, the World Bank Director of Digital Development. We are going to hear experiences of Scandinavian countries in contrast with the experiences of some developing countries.
Thank you so much for listening to this event here. Boutheina Guermazi and we will discuss connectivity through digital literacy, which is so vital for everyone in today's world, men and women. We have 15 minutes to talk about this pretty big topic, so I will jump right into it. Digital literacy is not only important for staying competitive in the workplace, but equally so in every aspect of everyday life. In many countries, including Denmark, where I'm from, it's almost impossible to function if you're not digital literate or online somehow. And it is estimated in Denmark that approximately 88% of the population use internet on a daily basis, and most of our dealings with the public sector and other things, of course, would be via electronic devices. As a matter of fact, Denmark ranks #1 in the world in the recent UN 2020 e-government survey when it comes to the public sector digitalization. So you may ask, why is it so important? Why is it better, for instance, to apply for a driving license with a click online instead of going to a public office? Or why is it better to be receiving letters and bills from the government via online instead of snail mail, etc.? And I'm sure that there are more answers to that, but basically the reply is that it's so much more efficient. You don't have to wait in a queue or in a phone line, and schools, you create completely new ways of dealing with kids and teaching if you understand technology. So the simple answer is that digitalization is a vehicle for increased productivity and growth, and for better connectivity between people and institutions and businesses. And it's actually getting more and more so. Just think about the COVID pandemic here, how the technology has made it possible for societies and for schools, etc., to function even during this very difficult time. So, but let me now turn to the real expertise, to the World Bank, and ask Ms. Boutheina Guermazi, I apologize for the pronunciation if it's wrong. Could you please share your thoughts on importance of digital literacy and connectivity nowadays? And could you also give some examples maybe from some of the countries, developed countries you work for, and what it means for them?
Thank you so much, Ambassador, and it's really nice to be with you today in this discussion. The question is very nice because actually you put two key elements and two key foundations of digital economy in the same question: that digital technology, connectivity side, and also the digital literacy and digital skills. And these need to go hand in hand if we're really, interested into getting countries into the digital economy, which is something that is, obvious, and the only way to cope is by having more digital in everything we do. So this is not possible without this twin together, the digital connectivity and the skills and the literacy. So digital connectivity, it's paramount, it's important. I mean, today, from also the examples you mentioned, whether we're talking about government, whether we're talking about people or firms, we need to have access to broadband that is available, affordable, that people can afford, and safe. And this is the key foundation of all foundations. I always want to refer to it as the mother of all foundations. And the examples are many. I think for citizens, having an opportunity to have the world at your fingertips means, more opportunities for education, more opportunities for trading, more opportunities for of participation, in addition to entertainment. I mean, the whole thing, very difficult to imagine nowadays that citizens do not have access to the internet. From the government side, I mean, definitely this is a tool for better efficiency for government, for more transparency, for better use of resources. And of course, if we look at firms, this is a tool for firms to be more competitive in an economy that is becoming, global every day. And, we know this. I think we know this. But what COVID did for us and for the whole community of people interested in digital is it raised the profile of the sector, I think, to a next level. Because during this moment that we're all going through, without digital connectivity and without the tools to hook up, the new normal that we talk about is not possible. So, whether we think about remote work or distance learning or telemedicine or, e-commerce, I mean, people during the lockdown, needed to ask for their food to be delivered. And the whole issue around resiliency of societies was made extremely powerful during the pandemic and highlighted the importance of digital connectivity. Now, if I talk about the other twin on the priority side, the digital literacy, and maybe more than literacy, the digital skills in general, this is very important. One, on the literacy side of it, making sure that when connectivity exists, people actually know how to use it, because it's very important to talk about meaningful connectivity, and it's meaningful if it's used. So without digital literacy, it is very difficult to see, bigger adoption rates. And without bigger adoption rates, I think the whole issue around digital divide will be even more difficult to handle. And then we can go into the other sides of the skills that are, more than the immediate level of literacy. And these are the skills that are needed to create content, to create applications in those pipes, the importance for people, and we see this in many society, pushing the thinking beyond being just consumers of technology to producing the technology, producing the content, producing the local content that is very important. And then we can go to the higher level, because at this date and age of rampant automation, having detailed digital skills is very important for the new jobs, whether they're AR related or content related. And we see more and more, the jobs that are on the low qualification or routine being displaced by more sophisticated, advanced IT-based jobs. So the digital skills dimension is very important for people to be part of this new economy. And so you asked also about our clients and what we're doing with our clients. It is important to see that this is becoming really a priority. There was a lot of progress made, but both agendas remain unfinished. So there is a push, I think, that we need to do to make sure that connectivity really is there. And the divides both between countries, but also within countries. This is something that came very clear in the context of the pandemic. So that's something that needs to be addressed. So for example, in Africa, we launched the Digital Economy Initiative with the aim of universal connectivity by 2030. On the skills agenda, working on the primary, secondary, but also tertiary and vocational training that's really needed to get these countries to the level where digital opportunities and digital transformation is a reality.
But thank you so much. I think it actually suits perfectly to my second question, or to my second area I would like to raise also, and that is also the connection between digital literacy and gender equality. And I was looking up an OECD report here that says that it is called Bridging the Digital Gender Divide. And there you can see that worldwide, 327 million fewer women than men have a smartphone and can access the mobile internet. That's a huge gap, you can say there. And other reports show that equal access to technology and learning opportunities, as well as policy intervention are instrumental to increase women's economic empowerment. So barriers to access, a lack of education, skills and technological literacy, and inherent gender biases, and so social cultural norms, they are all root of gender-based digital exclusion, and which leads to further inequality. And I know I just raised Denmark as a good example here. And again, here we have for many years also been working on these issues here. And I can come with many examples where, you know, there seems to be gender equality in Denmark in terms of income equality, and women's play an important role in business, and men have paternity leave, etc. But when it, even though we come far in Denmark, do a lot of work, and especially, for instance, within the areas of STEM, we have actually only at the moment here, we only have 33% students, or 33% of students are women. And of course, you know, in Denmark also, that is not considered good enough. I mean, we need, of course, more women, because you can say somehow this would be the future. If women or girls are not being taught in the areas of STEM, they will lose out in the future on those very important jobs, actually, that would be important for also reaching this high level of gender equality in the future. So could you explain also developmental perspective of internet connection, of digital literacy also, and how important it is for reaching gender equality in your view or in the bank's view?
Very good. Thank you so much. Yes, so maybe I'll talk a little bit about the link between digital connectivity, literacy, and economic development in general. And then I'm very keen to react to what you shared about the experience of Denmark on the gender digital divide. It remains a very stubborn one. So happy to share with you our findings, and also what we want to do to make sure that we move the needle on this agenda. So the first point of the linkages between digital connectivity and development, I think this is something that is, we're getting more data and more evidence about the importance of digital as part of economic development in general. And we know today that the part of the economy that is digital is actually moving much faster than the traditional part. And even within the context of COVID, I mean, we know how the whole economic situation worldwide is being affected with, level of recession that's, very, very deep, and a number of millions of people, according to bank research, 115 million will be pushed back to extreme poverty because of the pandemic. But as we look at this, we see that the internet economy in many countries was actually booming while the whole economy is going through this crisis. So it's an important element as we think about economic development in general, but also economic development in the context of, building back better, and in context of the resilience recovery after COVID. So a little bit of the research. I mean, we know that with increased broadband connectivity, there is a clear link to GDP, which is important. We've done a lot of research in Africa, and the link with employment is very important. There was a study that was done, very recent one, and looked at 12 countries in Africa, and basically people living in areas with broadband access, with fast internet access, they have more chances, between 3 to 13, almost 14%, to be employed than those without internet access. There was also a very recent one, a study in Nigeria that the bank has done with GSMA that looked at extreme poverty reduction by 7% after 2 years of having connection. So this is almost the equivalent to 2.5 million. And if we look at, Africa, where it's the continent where we're trying to do a lot on connectivity, we find that the internet economy could reach $100 billion by 2025. So this is almost 5% of the continent's GDP, gross GDP. So this is within the sector, but the importance of the sector is really when we stop looking at it as a sector, when we start thinking about it as an enabler for digital transformation across every sector of the economy. And these, we start seeing the multiplier effect. But we also see, unfortunately, that women are still not a very active part of this. And there are many, divides. It's not only one gender digital divide, it's many of them. And it's very important as we think about an inclusive digital transformation that, women have access to all the foundational elements for this digital transformation. And the numbers you shared earlier are very telling. So let me add a little bit from a development perspective that shows, that really the issue is still stubborn. There is definitely a lot of progress, but we definitely need to do more. So today, for example, we know that women are 23% less likely to own a phone and to use the internet. This is just on mobile application. When we look at STEM, for example, and positions in SMEs in IT, there was a research done by Facebook that shows 65% of management positions in SME are for men. When we look deeper into the topic of the discussion today around digital skills and literacy, we see that only 35% of women major in STEMs. So to have more women in IT, we need to have more girls in STEM. And this is very important. And there is a lot of work that we need to do there. Today, also globally, only 20% of the world's software developers are women. If we look at ICT patents, it's only held by 2% of women. And if we push the discussion into the more advanced technologies that will, shape the future for us, for example, artificial intelligence, we see that women only represent about 12% of, machine learning and research and all the activities around this advanced type of technologies. So it shows that, there is a lot that we need to do to close these different gender gaps. In the bank, we're trying to do more. This is part of the IDA 19 priorities and commitment to make sure that there is a very strong gender lens into our operation on ICT. We have some country projects. So for example, we are working with Kosovo on a project where there is a lot of attention, specific and deliberate attention on women. We're working with a number of partners to push this with the Equals Initiative, with CES, with ITU. We have a nice platform, the Digital Development Partnership, that I'm really, really, really proud that Denmark is a key partner. So we're also trying to have, the coalition of the willing around the topic because we really need to take it to the next level working together.
I would just like to remind you that the time is up.
Yes, but I think we will actually, you can say 15 minutes is not a lot to discuss this very important topic. So I think, as I said before, it's getting more and more important. So I think that let's continue working on it. And I think it takes a very, you can say, strong government position somehow in nurturing societies for bringing literacy up in men, women, girls and boys, so I think a lot of strategies around the world should be developed, roadmaps basically, for how we make sure that no one is left behind in the future. So thank you very much. It was my pleasure to talk to you and be part of this important conference here.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thanks for the opportunity to share a few thoughts.